Hello and welcome back. And today we are going to discuss the verse number 14 of chapter number 1. The title is Vedas, and the book is the Holy Science. So, from Holy Science, we are going to understand today about the generation of the five koshas, the five cells of our body, right? So, our body has overall five cells, and the first cell is known as the Anandamaya Kosh, which is the inside body, right? Which is the innermost cell, right? And inside this, we have the chitta. You know what is chitta? We have already discussed about the chitta many times. So you need to go to the previous videos. I'm not going to repeat that again because videos becomes, a bigger one. Larger videos are there, so I just want to avoid them. So chitta, you can understand from the previous videos. So this chitta is surrounded by five cells or koshas. So whosoever uh, are the students of the yoga or whosoever know the basics of the yoga, they must be aware about these five koshas. So the innermost kosha or the innermost layer or the innermost cell is known as the Anandamaya Kosh. Right? So this is the first one, Anandamaya Kosh. So we are going to understand two things today: generation of five koshas and the formation of this world. So as of now, we are talking when the energy is expanding, the energy wave is expanding. You know that there is a God particle. This starts vibration. The vibration wave, travels forward in this direction and in the reverse direction as well. This reverse direction, this pull in the reverse direction is known as the intellect, and this pull in this direction, in the right hand side direction, is known as the manas, right? So we are here only when this energy is expanding. So the expansion of the energy in this direction and what is the impact of it when we are just about to uh, you know close all the formation, right? I mean, when this energy is going to expand and it is expanding forever, it is getting expanding, it's expanding every time, every minute, every second, it is expanding, right? So during the expansion, before we came into this world, what has happened, that's all has been explained here. So as of now, we are explaining this part only. This part you cannot explain. This is beyond the intellect and the mind. So don't worry about it. You can never explain it. You will never be able to find it out. You can just feel it. Otherwise, there is no such thing which will help you to understand this. So this is Anandamaya Kosha, and after that, this Anandamaya Kosha is basically made up of the four bhavas. In the earlier video, we have understood about the four bhavas, right? Where we understood like there are four things like distance, there was time, there was desha. Desha means in Hindi we call it desha, but yeah, in English we call it country. But this is not the kind of something like country, right? This is something which is just the illusion of distance, right? This is just created with the illusion of the distance, which is desha. And then comes the molecule. In Hindi, we call it anu. So these four are the reason of all the bhavas, all the things that we feel, right? So this internal inner cell where the chitta lives, this contains the entire set of bhavas, just like the seed of the plant contains all the things which are to be generated by the plant, which will be in front of you once the plant will grow up, right? So the seed contains all the properties, whether it's a stem of the plant, whether it's leaves of the plant, whether it's the fruits on the plant that will be coming, right? So all those things, their seed, the seed of seeds, in fact, the seed itself is the Anandamaya Kosh, which contains all the bhavas, all the feelings which we feel, that is the source of that chitta or the Anandamaya Kosh where the chitta resides, that is the center or the central location or the boundary of all the bhavas, which is known as the Ananda Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So where you feel the bliss. I mean, this is the source of all the bliss. So once you reach here, right, you feel the bliss basically, right? Then comes the intellect. The intellect makes the next cell, which is known as the Jnanamaya Kosh. Inner cell was Anandamaya. Now it's Jnanamaya Kosh or the intellect. So what is this? What is the intellect? So in the previous videos, we have understood that when the particles are created, like the any particle is created, then one portion is attracted towards God, the other portion is attracted towards the other direction, which is known as the manas, right? And due to these, due to this attraction, it becomes magnet. And due to this magnetism, you already know from the science that if there is some kind of magnetism and there is kind of, magnetic field change as per the Faraday's law. Faraday's law came, after this book was written. This holy science was written somewhere around 1894, and after that, Faraday came and he told the law that yes, when something is moving into the magnetic field, or if you are changing the magnetic field, then accordingly the electrical energies will be generated. So for each of the molecule, which was known as the chit, earlier it was chit. You have all understood about the chit and chitta. So this chit creates five kind of electrical waves, electrical dipoles. So these are three, and the fourth one from here, fifth one from here. So these are the five electrical dipoles. These five electrical dipoles are responsible for creating five sensory organs, eyes. So these electrical powers, one of the electrical power is the eye of the eyes. One electrical power is the ear of the ears. The other electrical power is the you know um, uh, tongue of the tongue, right? I mean, uh, the sensory organ of taste, right? So all these different kind of electrical dipoles, they are responsible for different kind of sensory organs created in our body, right? So our eyes are just the material. This eye is just a material, but what makes this eye to act like an eye? That electrical power, that electrical thing, that electrical dipole is the main thing behind our eyes, right? So when you are talking about this, then in that case, one thing is traveling. I mean, one portion is traveling here, and the other portion is traveling this side. So due to this pull, the five kind of electrical dipoles are generated, electrical currents are generated, right? Because you already know that when there is a moving magnet, then there is uh, you know there is some kind of electrical signals also generated, right? Electricity is also generated. So when this is when this is generated, then each of the electrical dipole has three parts. One is plus, one is minus, and the one is neutral, right? So when this electrical dipole is uh, attracted towards towards the God. I mean the God particle in this direction, in the reverse direction. See on the top. I am talking on the top. So when it moves in this direction, then in that case, electrical charge is moving, right? And you already know that if an electrical charge is moving into some space, then in that case, magnetic field is generated. So again, due to the you can see the different kind of magnetisms getting generated. One magnetism, this chit itself is a magnet. Now, whatever electrical powers have been generated, the electrical dipoles have been generated, they are also getting attracted due to the attraction towards the God particle, towards the, not towards the God particle, basically the attractive power of the God particle. You are able to see in the previous video you have already discussed. We have already discussed that because of that, an electrical magnetic field again gets generated. So that magnetic field is known as the intellect, right? So the inner cell, after after the Ananda Kosha, the other kosha which is known as the intellect cell, or you can say the Jnanamaya kosh, that is made up of that intellect power, that magnetism under the influence of the electricity. Okay, the electric field under the magnetism, this electric field which is under the magnetism due to the magnetism which is getting generated and causing another kind of attraction, right? Causing a different kind of uh, attractive magnetic field getting created, which is basically electrical field, in fact, because of which the magnetism is getting generated. This is called as the buddhi or the intellect. In Hindi, we call it buddhi, and in English, we call it intellect. So this second layer is the intellect. Then comes the third layer. Third layer is the manas. You know that this pole, you can see it here. So this pole, this chit, one pole is getting attracted towards the manas in the opposite direction. So this manas causes the sensory organs to be created, right? Which feels the happiness or the sadness, right? So all these things are inside the mana, manas goes, right? Manas layer, manas cell. So what happens that all the happiness or sadness, I mean, the reaction of these electrical and magnetic fields, right? The result of actions, right, are generated in the form of the happiness or the sadness. If you are attached towards the actions, then the negative charges will be generated, which are basically the bhavas, right? Those charges will cause the happiness or the sadness in this particular layer, in this particular cell. So inside this cell, the sensory organs, I mean, those things which feels the pain, which feels the happiness or the sadness, we're talking about those, right? And those are all associated with the manas, right? If you, for example, if you got hurt, then in that case what happens that you have got hurt on your head or on your knees or on your any other body organ part, then in that case you feel bad, you feel sad, and what is associated in that situation? Your manas, your mind, right? So that's why all the sensory organs which feels any kind of happiness or sadness, any kind of pain or pleasure, all those are associated with the manas. So all those pleasures, all those pains, they are inside this because of the attraction towards the worldly desires, right? So this is the manas layer. Then comes the pranamaya kosh. So the pranamaya kosh, the fourth one, right? So you can consider, you can imagine another layer on top of that. So that is known as the pranamaya kosh. So in our body, every organ needs the oxygen. This prana is nothing but the flow of oxygen or flow of prana, air inside our body and whole body, right? So whole body means all the action organs, whatever organs which we use to take some action, which we use to perform some action, those are the karma organs, right? But all those organs, like whatever we feel, right? Whatever we perceive throughout those organs, these are not the other organs, these are just those organs which we use to perceive the world, like the eyes, the ear, right, the tongue, right? So we are talking about those organs. So this pranayama means this pranamaya kosh, this cell specifically contains all those electrical and magnetic powers which can generate these kind of organs, which contains the seed of these kind of organs, right? And this kosha is known as the pranamaya kosha. So if you make them stronger, then your body organs becomes stronger by default, and that is the experience as well. Then comes the outer body, which is the Annamaya Kosh, which contains all the important information to create a particular body, right? So all the outside body that is visible, that is Annamaya Kosh. That is because of the Annamaya Kosh. Not exactly Annamaya Kosh, because Annamaya Kosh is just like a manual which contains the information that how the body will be created. What kind of protein need to be created? Is it animal protein or is it a protein which humans have? So based on that, the Annamaya Kosh decides what kind of body appearance it should have. right? So this is all the complete work of the repulsion force until the humans are created, right? Until all these koshas are created, basically, not humans, until all these koshas are created. So once all these koshas are created, then what does it mean? It means that all the raw material is available. Now, what will happen? The second thing will start. What will start now? The second thing, which is the power of the attraction. Until now, we were discussing about the repulsion power, which was creating this the koshas, the various electrical energies, all those things which manifest themselves into the form of the different animals, different kind of things, right? So that has completed. Now comes the work of attraction. Attraction means love. This is the work of attraction, the work of love of the god. So when the force of attraction comes into play, then it starts removing the various koshas. And how does it removes? It removes in the reverse direction. Reverse direction means the outermost, the annamaya. Yeah, I know the one which we discussed lastly. That gets removed. If it will be removed, then what will happen? If you will remove this, then only prana will remain, right? So if you remove the Annamaya Kosh, then it causes the Pranamaya Kosh to become active. And what does prana contain? Prana contain the karma senses only, right? Through which we can, feel we can perform the action. The life force is active, and with the help of that life force, we can perceive other things, right? We can feel the pain and the pleasure. So all those karma senses are active. So these karma senses are responsible for creating a plant life. So plant life comes into existence. All the plants comes to existence, right? With the help of the Pranamaya Kosh. So Annamaya Kosh is removed and the Pranamaya Kosh starts its working. So once Annamaya Kosh starts its working, then the majority of the Annamaya Kosh, where the majority of the Annamaya Kosh is there, if that is there, or you can say only the Annamaya Kosh is there, then in that case, this will be able to create what it will be able to create. This will be able to create the plant life. Then comes the Prana Kosha. Now you remove the prana kosha. Once you remove the prana kosha, you reach to the mana kosha, manamay kosha. So in manamay kosha, this is the shell. This is the layer, or you can say this is the cell, where inside every feeling related to the sensory organs has the capability to be stored, right? So based on different kind of lusts, we feel the pain and the pleasure. So whatever kind of lusts are there, based on that, all the different kinds of animals are created. So there are 84 lakhs, as per the scriptures. There are 84 lakhs kind of uh, animal kingdom, right? So those 84 jivas, 84 lakhs jivas, we call it 84 lakhs yonis, different kind of animals, nothing else. So based on that, different kind of lust, there are 84 lakhs kind of lust as per the scripture. So based on that, different bodies to digest these kind of lust, to just to feel these kind of lust and their associated pain and pleasure, these 84 lakhs kind of bodies are created. These are the animal, these are the different animals which are created. Now comes the removal of the Manaskosa. Now we reach to the Manaskosa. Now we see the removal of the Manaskosa, right? So after the Manaskosa, Jnana Kosha comes forward, right? You can imagine, like, there were different koshas. If you are peeling it like an onion, then the inner layer will keep coming, right? So now, when the Jnana Kosha come, then intellects come into picture. When the intellects come into picture, this particular Jnanamaya Kosha is sufficient to create the human bodies. And that's how the humans are created, right? Because the god is the god power, which is the attractive power, you can say the power of love, is attracting everything towards it. So because of that, every other layer is getting removed. And now when you reach to the jnana kosha, Because of the removal of the mana kosha, humans have the humans are created because that kosha has the capability to generate the humans, right? I mean, that will be that energy inside that level, inside that layer, or inside that cell, is capable to generate the humans. We have already understood that, based on the kind of energy, or based on the kind of frequency or the vibration, a different kind of material gets created. So, based on the intellect, what kind of material will be created, which will look like humans. So, this is how the human kingdoms come into picture. Humans come into picture. And now comes the removal of the Jnanamaya Kosh. Once you remove the Jnanamaya Kosh, then Anandamaya Kosh will be there. So once you reach here, then you become aware that yes, the pleasure was not outside, it was inside, because this chitta, which is basically, which was basically running towards the worldly desires because of the God light. We have already discussed about the light of the God. So because of that, it was running towards the worldly desires. So now it will not run towards that. So now it becomes a deity. In Hindi, we call it Devta. So it becomes a deity. It becomes a blissful soul, right? After removing the Jnanamaya Kosh. What does it mean? That if you have to become a deity, then you need to remove the ego of the Jnana as well, right? So that's how you become the deity. Now comes the removal of chitta. Now you remove the Anandamaya Kosh as well, the innermost cell as well, you have to remove. So in this case, you become completely free. You got the Kaivalyam or the Moksham, which is like the final destination, right? Finding the, uh, you know, getting the salvation, right? So if you remove this Anandamaya Kosh, you don't remove, basically, you just do the practices, you just do the meditation, just do the yoga. And ultimately, this Anandamaya Kosha, which is surrounding the chitta, also gets cracked. And then your chitta becomes free. And you get to know that I am not chitta, but I am chitta. You are not chitta, but you are chitta. Okay. So chitta means the pure power of God, the pure particle which came from the God, right? But on which there was no light of the God yet. So that was the purest form, right? Once you got the light of the God, that particle got the light of the God, then it becomes like a robot. It thinks like I have a separate identity, right? So that separate identity, from there, this world starts, and when you get salvation, you reach back to this chitta, right? So this is how the entire process works as per the explanation in the Holy Science book in the verse number 14. So I hope you are understanding this. So I'm trying to make it in English language. So this book is really tough. So sometimes it may be that I'm not able to convey the things to you, right? So if that is the case, then you can let me know, because I would like this thing to be understood by you if you are following me. Thank you. Have a nice day and bye bye.